Previously, East Africa and Africa has been doing what the Western world wants rather than driving what matters to them. Now is the time to drive growth with a focus on the continent's priorities while balancing the growth.
If you think about, especially when you talk about technology innovation, it's a very new particular area. And you see some countries, for example, Kenya is moving on the startup bill. Uganda is doing the same. So I think you can see policymakers are quickly trying to recalibrate how policy is made to ensure that we can leverage on this new economic opportunity, especially when it's moving very fast. And it's not only our region, and I think we're seeing it globally. And so the idea is, how do we start to train our policymakers to understand that mobility, to create agility, because it has to be agile now in how we do policy making.
The region does not lack assertiveness and innovativeness or entrepreneurial spirit. For instance, at Makerere University, conversations around artificial intelligence were rife long before many spoke of it. However, there are some aspects that will make these conversations bear fruit.
One is, I think, the talent is uneven. We need to make the talent more even in the region. I think that's a big dividend, because you have young people, but you need to skill them. And the skilling for this economy, because sometimes you want to skill them and then they are not ready for this economy. The other part, of course, is markets. And because they are young and they're small and medium enterprises, they are not necessarily big enough to serve consistently bigger markets. So there's an issue around aggregation. So how do you ensure that small and medium enterprises can come together to serve larger global growth markets, right? So I think for me, that's always the issue. And that's where you need sometimes either something like a chamber of commerce or a government body or cooperative. How do we organize young people in the way that they can deliver for big markets? Because right now, all you need is to scale, you need consistency. And that's something that we realize a lot of our young people can't have. Finally, I think you cannot do business today without data and being data driven. I have a sense that we need to build research capacities of universities so that universities in turn can be the research and development arms of our small and medium enterprises. A lot of these big companies, and I'm sure you've gone around here, they have a very strong R&D component which speaks to quality standards, understanding markets, pricing, understanding loans, understanding growth, understanding volatility, right? And without this, because as you say, things change very quickly. If you don't have somebody looking at this, then in most cases your business is bound to fail. So how do we help our young people do that? Because they cannot do this on their own.
Africa has powered previous industrial revolutions, and while most tech developments are not owned by the continent, Africans are the biggest consumers of the products. That is why they are pushing at the UN to have resolutions such as safe, secure and inclusive AI. They want a global digital compact, dialogue mechanism, financing for development, and innovative financing for capacity building. The message is clear: global AI governance should be inclusive. Joan Salmon, NTV Business.